Hey guys, Ollie here at Relentless Comics. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are embarking on episode 1 of the first series on this channel, and I can't wait. This shall be obviously episode 1 of our Origin series, and as stated on the title and the thumbnail of the video, we are going to talk about one of the most powerful symbiotes in Marvel Comics called Toxin. I thought this would be the most relevant character to start with on this series due to the release of Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. As you may know, this film has now been released in the UK, which of course is where I am from, so fingers crossed everybody's been able to see the film. As I'm pretty sure in the US and other sort of large countries, and the film has already been released before the UK release date. However, there will be no major spoilers for the film, just in case you haven't seen it yet. However, like I say, Toxin does have a major connection to Venom, Carnage and Spiderman in the comics, hence I feel this is a rather relevant video. So just to quickly discuss what to expect in this video as well, we shall discuss the character's full origin story, as well as briefly talking about Toxin's history, the birth, his personality, his powers and his abilities. However, we shall create other videos where we discuss characters' powers and abilities in more detail. So yeah, like I say, before we do begin with this video, I would like to thank you all for your continued support. As you know, I am still learning how to create and edit videos, so videos will only get better. And with time, the channel and myself as a content creator, we shall inevitably improve as well. Anyway, without further ado, let us begin. Who is Toxin? Toxin is a symbiote. He's the offspring of a symbiote known as Carnage. Toxin is a member of the ancient race of alien beings known as Clintar, who actually predate the Big Bang itself. The Clintar require hosts in order to survive and unleash their true power. Whether it is used for good or bad, usually is determined by the host of obviously the symbiote. Toxin is actually feared by other Clintar, especially Venom and Carnage, purely to the fact he's the 1000th symbiote in the lineage. And whenever you do get a 1000th symbiote in a lineage, they are usually the most powerful within the lineage. So that's obviously the reason why they are greatly feared. Toxin is, of course, notorious and, like I say, feared by other Clintar as well, not just Venom and Carnage, but they are particularly frightened of Toxin. The only other symbiote believed to be more powerful than Toxin is the god of the symbiotes himself, Null. The origin of Toxin. All symbiotes are asexual, meaning they do not require sex to reproduce or have offspring. With this being said, Carnage fell pregnant with Toxin, and Carnage felt pure hatred and fear for his new son, because of his potential to become much stronger than all previous symbiotes in the lineage. Carnage was ready to kill Toxin upon birth, as he understood how powerful his offspring would become. And when Carnage did give birth, he was actually too weak to kill the newborn Toxin. He tried to blow it up and bury Toxin, however, this ultimately failed. He would eventually put his symbiote spawn to a New York Police Department officer called Patrick Mulligan, hoping to destroy the newborn symbiote later when Carnage was able to regain his strength. Carnage attached his child, like I say, to that NYPD officer. His name is Patrick Mulligan. It was actually when there was a gas leak explosion, and he planned on killing him there and then. But like I say, he realised he was too weak after birth, so he just left, promising to come back and kill Toxin there and then. Carnage attempted to kill Toxin at a later date again, but was prevented from doing so by Black Cat and later Venom, who wanted to train it and make it his ally against Spiderman. And if he had to, against Carnage as well. Venom was, of course, thinking of the long game, always trying to think ahead. Venom fought Carnage as a result of this, and named the new symbiote Toxin, because to other symbiotes, Toxin smells like poison and has tendrils like Carnage, but the body similar to Venom. But like I say, before the mentioned events took place and Pat became Toxin, Patrick Mulligan was a well-respected police officer who lived with his family, a wife and a son. Toxin's personality. So, when newly spawned and young, Toxin was very naive and curious. He would constantly pester and annoy his host, Patrick Mulligan, with very difficult questions which Pat really didn't know how to handle or answer at all. And due to the symbiote's young age, he has similarities, I would say, to someone like the Hulk. You know, he can be very childlike, has a toddler-like psyche. However, the main difference between Toxin and Bruce Banner / the Hulk is that the Hulk, when calm, and Bruce Banner, is able to control or cohesively work with the Hulk much more than, Toxin is with Pat. Toxin is constantly trying to push the limits of right and wrong, as they do not have a good symbiotic connection like Eddie Brock and Venom, for example, or Cletus Cassidy and Carnage. So combining his psyche and power, going back to Toxin, his actions can be extreme. So this can be used for good or evil, but that is the ultimate question. Toxin tends to do things that can be quite evil, where Patrick is trying to teach Toxin how to be good. Of course, Toxin doesn't know the difference between right or wrong, and that is the real dilemma that they are faced with. Pat Mulligan was afraid that Toxin would turn out as monstrous as his father, Carnage, and these concerns weren't unrealistic at all, really, as Toxin did express a very morbid sense of humour, and like I say, a tendency towards excessive use of violence when it wasn't needed. Mulligan, like I say, eventually took it upon himself to mentor and teach the young symbiote, and teach it to suppress its predatory instincts. But Pat was often very strict with Toxin, which could obviously cause a little bit of strain within their relationship as well. So while Toxin tried to tempt Mulligan into giving in to his darker urges, Patrick was constantly refusing, which caused Toxin to childishly lash out at Patrick, almost like a kid having a tantrum. As a result, Toxin actively weakened Pat Mulligan's combat abilities when he was in imminent danger, in order to force him to admit that he needed Toxin's help and he needed Toxin as a part of him. Due to the stress and the issues caused by Toxin, Pat simply had enough, and he did try to commit suicide. It seemed Toxin cared about Patrick at the time enough to save him. When Pat did try and attempt suicide, Toxin actually stopped him and lectured him about trying to kill himself. Although at a later date, Patrick did theorise Toxin only intervened because it didn't know if it would be able to find another host. Despite their constant bickering, Mulligan's mentorship left a strong impression on the young symbiote that lasted long after Patrick Mulligan's death, which was caused by Blackheart. Powers and abilities. Toxin possesses the powers of its parent Carnage, but to a greater extent. In addition to this, Toxin has a much stronger resistance to sonic waves and intense heat, which is usually the most common weaknesses in all symbiotes. When bonded to Patrick Mulligan, Toxin usually has a very slim, streamlined appearance, closely resembling that of sort of Spiderman, complete with a red, dark blue or black coloration. When upset or aggressive, it becomes much larger, and obviously his physicality and his strength, he becomes even stronger. He grows vicious fangs and long, curving claws. Toxin has superhuman strength, far superior to Venom and Carnage combined. In fact, upon birth, Toxin had the physical strength superior to that of both Venom and Carnage, like I say, combined. His physical size can increase the angrier he gets, much like Hulk in the comics. He has superhuman speed, superhuman agility, superhuman stamina, reflexes, and durability. His durability is much more than that of Venom, Carnage, and Spider-Man himself. Toxin has abilities which include genetic memory, offspring detection, a spider sense of sorts, although it's not exactly the same, it's actually more efficient than spider sense, because he's able to detect where the danger is, not just in Spider-Man's case, where he can only detect there is some form of danger, but he doesn't know where from. And he actually has immunity to Spider-Man's spider sense as well. So just like Carnage and many other symbiotes, he can generate tentacle-like appendages from various parts of his body, which he often uses either in combat situations or to restrain someone. Toxin can manipulate his matter to enlarge or stretch his body, like webbing almost, in order to augment his attacks. So he can also create things like spikes, blades, axes, or shields, using literally his own matter, his own body. Toxin has also the ability to manifest wings in order to fly, very similar to the MCU Spider-Man's almost wingsuits that he has. Again, the only difference being Toxin can do this using his body itself. Toxin has a regenerative healing factor, much like Wolverine, however, not to that extent. He is capable of healing injuries in the host at an exceptionally fast rate, however. And the symbiote is even capable of healing injuries and illness that current human medical care cannot, such as cancer. Toxin can morph into other sort of beings or humans, so we can take the image of someone, and he can camouflage with any surrounding, including mimicking clothing and any material. Like Spider-Man, he has the ability of wall crawling, webbing generation, stretching, and deforming. He actually has poisonous fangs, and the ability of tracking, again, similar to Wolverine and maybe someone like Kraven the Hunter as well. His main weaknesses are fire and high-pitched sound, sonic waves, but like I say, again, they are nowhere near to the extent of Carnage or Venom. He's also weakened by symbiote inhibitor drugs. However, he does have slightly more resistance, but not a lot of resistance to these. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, please like this video, press the subscribe button down below for more content and videos on this channel. If you have any video ideas or feedback, then please feel free to leave this in a comment below, and I shall respond to all comments left. For more of these videos, press the notification bell as well, and you'll never miss a new video every Saturday. As you can all see on your screen now, the next episode of this Relentless Origin series, we shall be covering the origin story of Adam Warlock. I will see you on the next one.